Wasn't there a show, Three's Company, where like two's a pair,
Two's a crowd. Two's a crowd.
two's a party.
Yeah, we were just talking offline about some wifeful, spousal thing, but
Only positive things, by the way. Only positive.
I mean, obviously, superheroes. The thing I'm reminded of is I have had, on the flip side of what we were talking about, I've had like dreams where my wife did something I didn't like, and then I was mad at her the next day. It's like, this is how stupid our brains are.
Yeah, they really are. There was I think it was like either Nate Bargatze or whatever had a joke. He's like, so aliens come to the planet,
yes.
and they're like, well, how do you recharge your batteries? And they're like, well, you lay here and you do nothing for 8 to 10 hours, hopefully. And they say, that's boring. And they say, no, it's great. Your brain plays movies that you're in, and sometimes they scare you.
Right. Listen, you can learn everything you need to know in life by just watching everything that guy's ever recorded.
Oh, yeah.
It's the best.
If this name is not new to you, he's got a couple Netflix specials, but he just goes up there and he's from Tennessee.
He's the best.
And
the
he's
Tennessee
like,
kid is, yep.
He's like, I'm uneducated. I know nothing of the world.
And yet, no, it's subversive.
It's perfect.
And it's clean and delivered calmly. It's not, he's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like this segue to our sponsor.
Active Directory vulnerable to cyber attacks? Active Directory is the #1 attack vector involved in 9 out of 10 attacks. Because of legacy Active Directory misconfigurations, it is a prime target for cyber criminals. To find and fix AD security vulnerabilities, you need Purple Knight, a free community Active Directory vulnerability assessment tool that is used by thousands of organizations to scan for indicators of exposure and compromise. Purple Knight provides a vulnerability assessment report and prioritizes recommendation guidance so you can quickly find and fix legacy misconfigurations that leave your core identity system open to attackers. You can also use Purple Knight to scan for vulnerabilities in Azure Active Directory, which is notoriously tricky to secure. Stop worrying about security gaps and download Purple Knight today to find out where the problem is and how to fix it. You can find links to Purple Knight in the description of this podcast.
So everybody's having a good week, but Amazon.
You know what?
This shouldn't be surprising, though, I don't think.
Well, it's not surprising because they met to settle and Amazon couldn't reach an agreement with the FTC, so they knew exactly what was coming. But this is how do I say this? There are things that I'm very certain about in life, right? The need to regulate big tech is absolutely one of those things. Because I have my head so far up Microsoft's behind, I also have very clear thoughts about the various things they're doing to ruin their products and hurt customers and blah, 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 whatever. And I look at companies like Apple and Google, and I say to myself, these are the low-hanging fruit. When we talk about big tech regulation, you start with these two idiots and just destroy all their stupid market manipulation nonsense first. That's where you start. But Amazon is one of the big tech companies, one of the top 5 companies. Absolutely right. They're right up there. And this one's a little more nuanced for me. And it may just be a lack of experience, but I don't think it is. So I will just say, living where I live, especially because we live in a great nexus of transportation hubs. And in the past, it used to be canal boats bringing coal and steel up a river to someplace, right? Later on, it became trains doing the same. Now it's trains linked across the country doing the same for shipment, type purposes. And now, of course, it's cars, right? Since the 1950s, it's just the same. This nexus has never changed, right? Since 1800s, whatever. And I will tell you, just in the time we've been here, and certainly in the time we've been visiting since the late 1990s, the amount of truck traffic in this area is astonishing. And it's all because this is where all the warehouses are in our region for Amazon mostly, and for other companies, but mostly Amazon. And so when I think about Amazon, I think to myself, here's an idea that no one would agree to. Let's delay the shipment of everything by 1 day, and we'll do the math on that, and it will mean 30% less trucks on the road or whatever, right? They're not ruining our infrastructure. This makes sense. They should be paying higher taxes, however you want to phrase it. And I'm telling you, dude, no one would agree to this. No one, because we're so used to this, get everything we need as fast as we need. So when people look at Amazon, like the FTC, and in the case of regulators, or the editorial I read this morning by Cory Doctorow, a guy I love and respect, and came up with the enshittification thing, I think to myself, I don't think you're going to find a lot of people who agree with this. And that puts me in the awkward position of being the people who disagree with me about either big tech regulation in general or Microsoft specifically, who are like, I don't see the problem. Like, I think you're exaggerating. I think this is not a big deal. I don't think people care about this stuff, blah, 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 whatever. And so I have to kind of deal with that emotionally. But I'm telling you, everyone should do, I'm going to write about this today, I think, if I have time. It's going to be a busy day. But Cory Doctorow, the enshittification guy, explained in an editorial for the New York Times how Amazon has enshittified everything. Without using that term, by the way, I'm positive.
Sure.
I said you can't use this word, right? And I read it, and I love him, and I agree with everything he writes usually. And I read through the whole thing, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think you're wrong. Are you're arguing to me as a consumer that Amazon today is worse than it was 5 or 10 or 20 years ago? Absolutely not. And I know all the sponsored stuff that's so easy to get around, and we're all immune to it, and we don't see it, and we know to get by it. And I know all the ways in which it's changed. But here's what I do know. I order something and I get it tomorrow. Sometimes I get it today.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but are you going to put this in front of a trial, like of normal human beings from the United States of America, and say, have Amazon tell you, so here's going to be the outcome. You're going to get this stuff in 2 days, not one. And prices are going to go up. Quality is going to go down, whatever it is. They're going to say, no, screw that. And that's the problem with this. This Amazon one to me is not clear cut. And everyone knows how I feel about this stuff, I think, right? I'm pretty obvious about it. I mean, Amazon absolutely needs to be regulated. We need to look at this stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah,
this one is not
interesting
clear.
To see, to me, where I think they will end up getting in trouble, if they do.
Okay.
Won't be with what they've done to the market and basically making, if it's not there in 2 days, it's like, what the hell are we in, like 1942 sort of thing? It would be if they use their power to see the commerce transactions to give themselves a leveraged benefit that other vendors would never be able to get. Meaning, oh, Paul sells t-shirts. I already know how much he sells those t-shirts for. I'm explicitly going to go make t-shirts and have the vendor charge me 10% less because I'm Amazon to take Paul's business.
So first of all, they do that, but here's the problem.
Well, that to me is what they should get in trouble for.
But here's the problem. You know who also does that?
Oh, everybody.
Everyone.
Google.
Everyone. No, so the thing that doesn't enter into this conversation for some reason, I'll just put one thing out there, is I don't know, Walmart.
Yeah.
When you have tremendous market power like they do, you have the ability to set prices. You have the ability to determine who gets to sell to America in this case, right? Walmart has such market power, they can go to suppliers and say, look, here's the deal. We're going to make you the exclusive provider of some whatever it is. You're going to sell it at this price. You're going to sell it only to us. You can't sell it to anyone else. If you do, you can't sell it for less than you sell it to us, period. And those people will say, yep, and there will be no problems because that's how the world works. I'm sorry. Now, is that an abuse of market power? Yeah, I mean, technically, right? I mean, it's almost the textbook definition of it because Walmart has such tremendous market power. They're, if not a monopoly, whatever they are. But Amazon is the same thing, right? But the fact that Walmart has been able to not just survive, but thrive since Amazon has become one of the top 5 biggest companies in the world, whatever they are, unfortunately, is a huge retort to the damage that Amazon is supposedly causing to the economy.
Right.
I would look at things like the trucks, right? Because I live here. Now, if I lived in Vermont, in the woods, I probably wouldn't even know what you were talking about. I wouldn't care. Maybe. I don't know. But because I live here, I see it. And to me, this is like, I see that, we used to have farms here. That's all it was. And now it's warehouses, and that's all it is. And I'm telling you, the future of the Lehigh Valley is highways, train tracks, and roads, and warehouses. That's it. And track homes and, McMansions. But this is the nuance to this is difficult. This came up during Microsoft Activision, right? And I argued, look, there's no logical reason, no legal reason to prevent this acquisition. And you can step through every argument you want to make. And what you come down to is, well, what about cloud computing? You've just proven my case. There is no market for cloud computing.
Yeah.
Will there be in the future? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a market for flying cars in the future. I can't legislate the future.
Right.
But I'm telling you is today,
in my
it's
opinion.
nothing.
I mean, that's a
right.
dicey
So
thing.
anyway, but Amazon does wield incredible market power.
They do
do have this power. What I'm saying is it's not So my wife and I kind of debated this morning. This is going to sound like a stupid example, but Jeffrey Flower, who writes for the Washington Post, did the. I'm gonna show you what Amazon does. You people are also friggin' stupid. You don't understand that when you go to an app store or the Amazon store, because by the way, same thing, and you search for something, the top of it is all sponsored. It means that Amazon is making money on advertising, right? I'm going to highlight all those things that are sponsored. And what I'm saying is everybody knows this. Like, we know to scroll down. We know to go get rid of featured and turn it into by best reviews, right? We know to do this. There's a way to turn on only verified reviews. Like, we know to do that. But what is the act of putting sponsored stuff on top of what I would call organic search results? What is that really? Do you know what it is, Brad? I think this is a great example. My wife thought this was stupid, but I said, we go to this restaurant called Notch every weekend. We love it. They have this nice big menu, and the menu is all the things that we might want to buy. And then every week they put something on top of that menu, and that is the specials menu. And you know what the specials are, Brad? It's the shit they have too much of, right? Like, those guys sold sushi the other day for the first time ever, and we were joking, like, if you came in here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the specials would all be some sushi dishes, right? Because they have to get rid of that stuff. It's super perishable. When you get a wine recommendation in a restaurant, I mean, is this something they just got a lot of cheap and they're trying to get rid of it? Honestly, oftentimes it is. Now, this restaurant is not a economic superpower like Amazon, but it is the same thing. When you put specials on top of the menu, which is the thing you want to see, you look at them. And that's the point. It's exactly the same thing. Now, if you go into it as a savvy consumer, you may still want a special, by the way, right? You might. Some people like ads, Brad. We live in a topsy-turvy world, but you might choose one of those. You might choose something on the regular menu, but you have that choice. It's the same thing. So is it illegal? Actually, yes, because Amazon has a monopoly, and when market behaviors that are okay when you're a scrappy upstart are illegal when you're a monopoly. And there you go. It's a nuanced. Toys R Us used to sell diapers for under cost to get you into the store because they knew you'd bring in your little baby, and he would see the candy. Off you go, and you buy a bunch of stuff, right? Is that illegal? It doesn't matter. They're out of business. But
yeah, I was gonna say that one kind of solved itself.
Yeah,
although
but they were the big company at one point. So I don't. By the way, I came up with the greatest description of CVS ever. We walked into CVS recently. It doesn't matter. And I'm looking around the store, and I'm like, "What is this place?" And she's like, "It's a pharmacy." And I'm like, "It's not a pharmacy. This place is a candy store with a little pharmacy in the back. That's all it is. It's a giant candy store, and then there's a little pharmacy in the back." That's the business, and that's the candy to CVS is the ads to Amazon. It's like this thing they figured out that would be cheaper than the physical thing they're doing, in Amazon's case, and could make them a lot of money, and it does. Amazon, they're I think the third biggest advertising company in the world. I don't remember. I'm not going to say numbers. I don't remember numbers well, but they make tens of billions of dollars a year, possibly a quarter, on advertising. So that's what they do, right? We understand they're companies. I mean, they're not charities. They're not there to benefit mankind, right?
My only, and this is nothing about nothing, but it's Amazon, so I'll bring it in, and I was looking up the date. So 2019, Amazon selected or whatever chose CVG, which is my local airport, international airport that we use to fly everywhere, as their North American hub for all their logistics.
Right.
And holy crap, the number of planes that go in and out of there that just have the Prime logo on it, it's incredible.
So, but trucks are on the ground. And so one of the things that's happened is we drive back and forth to Boston a lot. That used to be a 4.5-hour trip, barring any accidents or construction work, whatever. Now it's like a 6-hour trip. And you don't want to know why, Brad? It's not because half of New York just moved to the Lehigh Valley, although they might have contributed too. It's because of all the trucks. And that's the thing. You get out on the road and you're like, why can't they be a different place for the trucks? Can't they just be in like a lane or something? Can they build a thing just for them? They should never take precedent over cars. But they do, because we got to get that candy bar tomorrow. We can't. This is the problem.
I need it.
I know. I do.
I got shoes coming today.
So you made fun of me, as you should. I ordered the wrong iPhone case.
Yes, which was hilarious. I wanted to bring that up as well.
No, that's fine. And I, don't make the mistakes I make. I'm a friggin' idiot. But anyway, the point is, when it came, I waited for this thing to arrive. Not a couple of days. No big. I can't use my phone until I have a kit. I'm not bringing that phone out until it's a friggin' bar of soap that costs $1,100. So I went to Apple to order the right case, and I'm telling you, dude, for everything I just said, all the things about trucks, if I could have, I would have ordered that thing and paid $20 extra to get it today. I would have, because I've waited long enough in my stupid little animal brain. And it's coming Thursday. I didn't have that choice, but we all have this disease. We're not victims. We created it, but we are living in the convenience society, and we're addicted. And I think Amazon, I don't think this is going to be as for whatever its critics believe. Cory Doctorow referred to Amazon as the apex predator of big tech, or however he worded it. But apex predator was a term. I'm like, I don't think so. No, they're bad. But I would argue very strongly and at great length, as you know, about that Apple and Google are the apex.
I would say, in my mind, Google. So, like, to me, the difference between like this case and what we see against Google primarily is Google is being effectively charged as a monopoly for what they do, and Amazon is more of like to me, at least what I think we agree on here, is it's more nuanced. Like they have little areas where they might be abusing, as opposed to Google, where they're just owning the search engine market and driving traffic and doing whatever.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said so many times, the definition of monopoly is tied to the definition of the market that you're defining. And that makes it very easy to declare anybody a monopoly. I mean, I have a monopoly on the people who write about tech in this apartment or whatever, I mean, big deal. So the FTC charges that Amazon has two monopolies and that they are mutually beneficial, and that there's a virtuous cycle there, that they benefit each other. And there were multiple abuses that kind of come off of that. And I didn't read the entire complaint. It's hundreds of pages long. It's very detailed, but I did read a bunches of it. And I will read all of it eventually. But when I read that thing, I think to myself, yeah, no, I mean, I see the argument, but like I said, when you can come up with something as quickly as Walmart, like, for example, when Microsoft was in antitrust in the late 90s, they were like, well, what about Apple? What about Linux? And they were, what about by the way, one of their examples, this is true, BOS. And they were like, listen, we exist in a very dynamic industry. Yeah, things change all the time. And I mean, it's true. But I mean, honestly, I feel very strongly that if Microsoft had not been curtailed, had not had that lost decade, as I refer to it, the market power now enjoyed by Amazon, Apple, Google, and to a lesser extent Facebook would never have happened, because the Microsoft of the 1990s would have eaten those companies up. They would have just destroyed all of them. Yep, they would not have allowed any of that. So I don't know what to tell you. Except I'm just going to respond to everything with Walmart. Explain to me how Walmart exists and thrives and is humongous, and by the way, has a huge online business. If Amazon is so rapacious, how did it not kill Walmart like Walmart killed all the other big box stores, killed all the local stores, like Toys R Us killed Child World, where I grew up? Like, explain to me how that didn't happen, because Amazon is not the thing that killed Bob's shop down the street. That all happened before Amazon became what it is today. Walmart.